Very good evening, dear friends. Today, once again, I am with you to have a discussion on rural development. It is an important topic for class 12th Indian economics. So, today we will discuss about various aspects of rural development, why rural development is important, why this is the part of our syllabus, what is the significance of it, what are the different sources of eradicating the rural problems, various issues which are related with the rural development, uh, what are the steps the government has taken. But before coming to the topic, um, the first question which comes in our mind: what is development? So, when we say development, lots of things, dear friends, every day in your classroom situation or in your daily conversation with your friends, parents, and other people of the society, we are encountered, we are many times we have gone through this in the mode of discussion, the word development. So, what exactly you mean from this word development? Uh, in my view, when we say development, development refers to a situation or a condition when people have access of better way of life, better living. So when I'm saying that India is developing, suppose I'm with the help of example, India is developing means what India was and what India is. So there are two tenses has been used. One is a past tense and another is a present tense. So to understand the word development, it needs to compare with the previous situation. So in development indicates that the conditions of a society, if I'm talking about society, conditions of an individual, if I'm talking about individual, has improved compared to the previous conditions or situation. So that is a development. So here one more word I would like to discuss, that is a growth. So if I compare with the word growth with that of development, then there will be a more clarity in this one. So when I say growth, growth refers to the quantitative changes. क्वांटिटी में जो चेंज होता है दैट चेंजेस वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट थ्रू ग्रोथ. फॉर एग्जांपल, suppose in 2001, India produced, I'm just taking the numerical value, India produced 200 million tons of grains. Suppose I'm taking this example. And 2002, very next year I'm taking, it is a 250. So earlier 200 million tons, and next year it is 250. So there's a 50 tons increase. It indicates the growth. So it is a quantitative value. But when I'm talking about the development indicates not only the quantitative but the qualitative change. For example, India is developed. When I compare, India is developed from 1947 to 2019 situation, then I am talking about the per capita income. Then I am talking about the availability of resources to the individuals. Then I am talking about the per capita consumption of electricity, per capita consumption of iron and steel, availability of road, that is infrastructure, availability of water, sanitation facilities, etc., etc., etc. New number of things. So these all things. Suppose I am taking the micro examples. I am talking about the individuals. So when I am talking about any student, that what you are, what you suppose your age, your height was suppose um, 2 feet when you are in class uh, 2 or 3, something like that. And now in class 12th, your height is around 160, 150 centimeter. So it is a change in what? Height. It is a quantitative value. It's a growth. But when I'm talking about the development, I it means your way of presenting, your way of sitting, your way of talking, your way of writing, your wisdom, your skills, everything include means all round double all aspects of the personality has been taken care of in this development word. So development is a bigger concept compared to the growth. We are talking about development. Basically, the reason is that India has been coined through in different words. India is a land of rivers. India is a land of temples, and India is also the land of villages. So, if you study the book of Mahatma Gandhi, Gram Swaraj, when he's talking about the Gram Swaraj, actually he meant to say that if we focus the needs of the rural people, villages, because when India got independence, the 80% population or almost 80% population living in the rural areas. And if India would have taken care of the ideas of Mahatma Gandhi that time, means the rural development would have taken care of, then what problem India is facing? Means problem facing what problem India is facing? Rural migration, and more nobody wants to live in the village area. Doctors, engineers, nobody, everybody wants to send their wards to a for higher study, something like that, to the urban areas for small issues. So this rural urban divide has been created after independence. It is because basically that somehow deliberately, undeliberately, whatever the reason, Mahatma Gandhi's concept was neglected, or the lack of vision, you can say that. So 80% population, rural force is still in the rural areas, and 64% of the 60%, around 60% population living in the rural areas. So there is a need for this rural development, because if we are able to stop this rural development, rural migration, certainly this labor force can be, if can be adjusted in the rural areas, so this migration will stop, which is creating different types of problems in the urban areas, like sanitation problem, dwelling problem, transport problem, more pressure on the traffics. So this type of problems will be will not be in the urban areas. And in rural areas, this workforce can be utilized for agriculture allied activities, which has been neglected for many years. And if not neglected, if you're not satisfied with the word neglected, then somehow it has been not taken care of, or not been given enough boost as it was required. So if this rural population is engaged in the productive work in village itself, the village prosperity will come, more demand will be there in the village areas. And more demand, domestic demand, means the what problem India in this time is facing, because of global slowdown, as well as the some domestic issues are also there, so that problem will not be there. So now we'll see the how rural development. There is a flow chart of the rural development. Rural means ग्रामीण, development means विकास, मतलब गांव का विकास. Development of a village area is means rural development. Just now we have saw that growth versus development. What is the growth? Growth is a quantitative aspects. Development is a quantitative plus qualitative aspects. So it is all round, all aspects has been taken care development. Now meaning of what are the key headings? Meaning of rural development, key issues, rural credit in India, and institutional resources are these are the key issues. So first we will see the meaning of rural development. It means improvement in living conditions. Now key issues, what are the key issues? Human resource. So every India is a most populations lies in India. It's the most you can say more youth population is in India. India is a youth country, you can say. APJ Abdul Kalam used to say that India is a young country. So because of human resources, if you see, the human resources are going to NASA, America, going to European countries, Gulf countries. Though the Gulf countries, most of the population is not that much qualified, that much skilled as compared to the European countries, because there is a different needs in Gulf countries, and America or European countries, there is a highly skilled people are going, and that's why drain of brain it is called. So first key issues are what? Human resources. So human resources which are lying in the rural areas, that need to be catered. Their needs must be catered so that their better utilization can be ensured. Human resources, first point. Infrastructure. If we are able to provide, if you compare to the infrastructure of the rural areas and urban areas, you can say Himalayan difference between the infrastructure of the rural area and urban area. So rural area, schooling is not there, libraries are not there, and better and road transport is not there. Roads are kacha sadkas, roads are there. Then third one is the land reforms. Land reforms, basically, if you see, the rural areas are the feeders of the nation. Villages are the feeders of the nation. Farmers are the feeders of the nation, and farmers, they live in the rural areas. So land reforms is very much required. So land reforms, three aspects of the land reforms are there. One is the intermediaries. Second is the providing land to the land tillers, because the land is owner is somebody who is not living in there, and some tillers are doing tilling there, and that is actually interest they have to, larger portion they have to pay back to the landlords. And third one is the land base need to be increased, and productivity also need to be increased. Now fourth one is the elevation of poverty. Poverty is a very big challenge, especially for country like India, because poor people, they cannot contribute more to the growth of the nation. So their purchasing power is also less, their self-esteem is also less, self-respect is also less. So in every sense it is a negative only. So alternative, elevation of poverty. The fifth one is the development of the productive resources. And under this productive resources, उसको कैसे डेवलप करना है, and what are those things. First is rural credit. This is a very important rural credit, because rural credit is not there, adequate arrangement is not there. So farmers are unable to purchase the seeds and various technologies used in production or increasing productivity of the field. Then second is the agriculture marketing. If the things are produced, it needs to reach to the market, and return is then possible, and the farmers purchasing power will increase. And the third one is the role of cooperatives. uh, Cooperative sectors are there, and their role is very important, because they have a more access to the rural population. And the fourth one is the diversification of Indian agriculture, means various types of crops need to be grown, so that uh, they can better utilize the soil, and harness the climatic condition also. The fifth one is alternative farming, that is organic farming. Nowadays it's a very required. Then third aspect is a rural credit in India. So there, what is the need? Short term need, medium term need, and long term need. In short term, for 15 months, and for medium term it is a 15 to 5 years. 15 months to 5 years. There should not be confusion that it is a years, here is a year, so here also it may be a year. No, it is a 15 months, it is a 5 years. And the long term needs is for 5 to 15 years. Now credit requirement. So credit requirement and the productive requirements and unproductive requirements. Now sources of rural credit. First is a non-institutional, second is a institutional. First we'll focus on non-institutional. So rural money lenders, here there are two types of money lenders: professional and non-professionals. The non-professionals, they are giving the lending the money as a side business, means they are farmers as well, rich farmers, and they are giving the loans to the rural people. And then drawbacks are what are the drawbacks? High rate of interest. Rate of interest बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. Fraud, they are also doing some fraud things, and taking the thumb impression, and later on grabbing land also. Third point is no distinction between the consumption and production loans. Means if consumption, there are two types of needs of the people: consumption needs and production needs. So if consumption needs are there, rate of interest something should be different. For production also, production needs, loans should be different. So here now fourth one is a don't maintains account properly, is a main drawback. Fifth one is a low financial resources, means they are, since they are side business they are doing, so their financial resources are not, capital is not very big, so they are unable to provide short term and long term credit. Now the other sources for rural credit is a traders, landlords and relatives. The fourth one is institutional sources, bank, etc. It comes under this, and it is very important. RRBs, regional rural banks. It has been created by the government initiatives so that those areas, since the institutional sources, banks, they provide the loans. They are been guided to give the loans to the farmers in rural areas, but somehow it has been felt that these institutional sources, they are neglecting the rural areas. Farmers needs has not been catered properly, so the government created this institution, and by 2017 the 56 rural banks are, regional rural banks are there. Now finally the NABARD, national, NABARD, NABARD. So this NABARD has been created in 1982. You can recall when it was created is the Asian Games, when Indira Gandhi was a prime minister. That time NABARD was created, and is the apex body in the field of agriculture loan, and it is headquartered at Mumbai. So how NABARD provides the loans is very important: through state cooperative banks and regional rural banks and commercial banks. There are three ways it provides, and recently the government has initiated to provide further assistance and proper to make ease in business. You can understand ease in providing the loans for farmers benefit. Recent approach is what? KCC, Kisan Credit Card, and SHG, Self Help Group. So these are the things we have taken under this rural development, and the next topic will take in the next video: problem of rural credit in India. Till then, thank you.